Video capture.
Hey, I learned something.
Okay, we're live. Dun, 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 dun.
Yay!
Okay, so before we get into teaching the class, there's stuff that you need to have in perspective because you can say everything wrong with the right attitude and still find people that want to follow you and they'll believe in you, they'll believe in oils, and they'll enroll with you. Even if you mess up lots. Like Matt was describing the class where he got dry socket and someone had an allergic reaction and they were eating through the styrofoam cups that they were drinking out of. Everything can go wrong, but if you have the right attitude, it'll still work out. So here's some of those philosophical points to make sure you're considering. Why are you even there? Go ahead, shout it out. Why would you be there?
Why am I teaching it, or why am I at the class?
Yeah, why are you
Because I
showing
was
up
asked.
to your hostess's house? What?
Because I was asked.
Because I was like, Margot, you need to teach classes?
No. I said thing is so because I was asked.
Right, by me, right?
Okay, why are you there?
Yeah.
Somebody asked you.
Okay, that's one reason that motivates.
Curiosity.
What's that?
Curiosity.
So you're coming to teach?
Yeah,
Yes.
we're talking about the teaching part.
Yes.
I think you're confused of like being at the
Oh.
class. I think
Oh,
you're-
no.
as a
Like, why are
participant,
you,
yeah.
as a presenter, showing up to teach a class?
I think it's because you believe in what you're teaching.
Yeah.
You love
believe in what you're teaching?
You had an experience of what you're teaching. And even though you may not be a perfect teacher, you are still there because you want to be a better teacher, for that matter.
Right.
We're
You're
having
there,
a
you're
doTERRA
there.
class Thursday night, but I'm not going to be there to teach it.
So,
Yeah.
let's be honest.
Responsibility.
Most of us are not even going to be brave enough to pick up the phone to set up a class unless we have a goal, right? Like a sales goal or a share with so many people goal, or like you have motivation to be at this class, right? I want to hit elite this month. I need so many people to be in butts, in chairs, or their bum in a chair, in a class. And you need to present to so many. You need so many to enroll. You need so much volume to move. Like you'll have plenty of worldly motivation to be there. But what I'm asking you to do is, even though you might have a goal to sell a natural solutions kit at a class, even though you might have a goal of so much volume, even though you might have a goal to enroll the hostess because you think she'd be whiz-bang at doTERRA with you, set your goal, that's great, but then leave it at the door. Because when you're there, they will feel the dollar signs in your eyeballs. They will feel your alternative motivation besides their welfare. So when you're there, leave all other incentives leave your goals and your goals at the door. And be there just for them. So from the moment you open their door, from the moment you're there, and you're there early because you don't want to stress your hostess out, you want to start creating the environment of learning that's safe, that's open, that you're present for, and you're not on your phone texting as soon as you get there. So get there, with enough time so that you can be that kind of presenter, so you can be present. Okay. Everyone got that? Sweet. I didn't hear any no's, so I'm assuming you did.
Why would you want to leave your goals at the door? Besides the dollar signs, what does it do? What's the negative of if you bring
So
a desperation
when
goal?
it comes to the end of the class and people are deciding what they want to purchase from, what's like, you'll start to develop in them a hope that oils can really help change their life. And there comes a part in sales where you can become really manipulative. If they look at you with those like question mark and the hope in their eyeballs and they're like, I don't know what to buy, what should I buy? And they'll look at you and they'll ask you that question. And if you're like, you should buy the diamond kit because that'll make me elite really fast, you're gonna break their confidence. You're gonna make me sad that you manipulated them. And there'll be a disconnect and a break between you and them because they'll realize that you're not really there for them, you're really there for you. Does that make sense? There comes a point where they will ask you, what should I get? I don't know, what do you think? What should I get? And you need to be able to tell them what suits their needs. And you can't do that if this is your motivation, if volume is your motivation, if kits are your motivation. Your motivation needs to be selling them what they need.
I remember, and you could maybe help me out, I'm sure you've heard this story, but Kirk Duncan one time was talking about a goal that he had. He had, his vision board, he needed a $5,000 sale, and he was literally in a position to receive that $5,000 sale. while the transaction was being made, he was thinking in his mind, yippee, woohoo, I did it. And then the transaction fell through. And the reason why is because that energy, that subconscious thing that had to happen, it transferred on to the next people, and for whatever reason, they just decided it wasn't for them, because all of a sudden, when you're giving this love to people, I have this to share, and I'm here for your benefit. I'm here for I want to share with you something that I know will help you and benefit you, and you're there out of pure love. And then the minute you sell what is the $500 kit?
Natural Solutions
Natural
Kit.
Solutions Kit, and your mind says, yes,
$80 commission.
woo! Right, like that's what you do, then it sways it. I actually had that experience when I actually had someone ready for that in my mind.
They
I'm
click the
adding
pen.
up, like, ooh, I'm adding it up, like where am I gonna put them and whatnot, and it totally fell through.
Yeah. So I need to be really clear. I'm not saying not to have goals, because you need goals, you need volume, you do need people to buy kits from you, but you just need to leave that at the door. Everyone clear with that? That's how you not be a creepy salesperson.
It's
I'm
funny,
gonna teach
it's
you
funny
some-
we're at a car lot talking about sales, because if I said
Stop.
used car salesman, then you think of the pushy, the one that wants the commission, that's going to get you into any vehicle that they can. That's not the guy you want to work with. But the one that's going to get you the best bang for your buck,
Who
get
listens
you
to
exactly what
said
you need.
want.
That's the person that you want to. I buy my vehicle from the same guy, 3 vehicles from the same guy. Why?
Because he served you well.
It's the same thing we're trying to do.
Okay, I'm going to give you some really good tips today to help you be an awesome salesperson, and that's how you break the difference between creepy salesperson, yeah, she was only there to get the commission from me, and oh yeah, we're still friends. I talk to her on Facebook all the time. I ask her my oil questions, and she supports me. Okay? All right. Sweet. That's how you set up to have successful relationships from this class. All right. So the next thing I have to say to you is that you can absolutely just read straight from this sheet. Read from the sheet. How many times have our leaders told us we can just read from the sheet? But I'm going to tell you that you can read from this sheet and have the class go in lots of different directions with the exact same words coming out of your mouth. So I'm going to give you a few pointers on how to make the conversations go the way that you want them to.
Should we be writing these in notes on our sheet?
Yeah, you can write it on here if you want to. The very first one is, before I pull out my sheet, I'm going to tell the hostess I'm so glad that they're there. What's your name again? Tori. First of all, I'll be like, hey, everyone, thanks so much for coming. My name's Rebecca. I'm Tori's friend. This is how we met. We've been friends for like 4 years, man, huh?
Sure.
Yeah.
Or an hour. Be honest, we've been friends for an hour.
Yeah, we met 2 times. Anyway, so I'm just going to really pump him up and tell him how much I appreciate him opening his home and sharing this message of hope that I can't wait to tell you all about. And, Tori, because you allowed me to come and because you partnered with me in sharing this message of essential oils today, I have something special for you. And I'm going to give them a hostess gift on the spot. So what I have for you today is a cute little booklet that talks, sorry, I need to change my language. I'm talking to a dude. There is a difference in talking to a dude versus talking to a chick. So
Like
hey,
saying
Tori.
dude and chick.
I say dude and chick. If you can't get away with it, then don't. You can say lady and gentleman, whatever you want to say. So, I know that using oils aromatically can be kind of overwhelming at first, so I've got this cool book for you that like totally gives you recipes. And you can put them in a diffuser, like this awesome one I have over here. Smelling up the room, making it awesome. Notice that I changed my tone of voice. I'm talking not like woohoo to a dude, okay? Is that more comfortable? Or is it weird when I'm like over the top in your space? This is one of my favorite tools to give to my kids or put in my pocket. You can put any of these diffuser blends on the little wick that's inside these diffuser wispies, and you can keep the smell with you in your pocket without a whole bunch of oils in your pocket. Does that sound good? Okay, I'm gonna give him something like that. I have a whole box of Hostess goodies that are just, I mean, guys, I got this for free at a drawing, and I paid like $1.50 for these, I think. So Hostess gifts don't have to be expensive. The reason I'm giving this to him now at the beginning of the class is because I want to plant that seed. This is all about what seeds are you planting. I want to plant that seed that, ooh, that looks cool. I want that. I want to look through his book, you know. I want other people to be thinking about how they can have a class, or that they want to have a class. That makes my job easier, because then I don't have to, every time I do start up again, rev my business, I'm not coming up with all of the guests myself. I want to keep classes rolling from classes. That makes sense to everyone? Okay, so I choose to do that before I even start. You don't have to make a 10-minute thing of it. In fact, the shorter that you keep it, the better. Okay, so that happens before I start reading this class sheet. Here's the next thing that happens before I start reading this class sheet. I will start asking stimulating questions that don't have a yes or no answer to my class. And here's some examples of some of those questions. Raise your hand if you've heard me say this before. So obviously at the top of the new Natural Solutions class, God, I really like that they brought this back to the class. We talk about the modern approach to healthcare versus the natural approach. And we talk about getting to the root cause versus just addressing symptoms. So I might ask, hey, Tori or Troy? I'll get it in the right order one of these days. Okay. Where do you feel like you fit on that spectrum of like, you trust your doctor in everything and you don't question, just do everything he says, and like on the other hand, I do everything myself. Totally natural. It's okay. So I want you guys to know that I haven't done, are you noticing this? I haven't done a very good job making him feel comfortable, because he like needs a second here before I can say.
The reason being is he's on a failed treatment list.
Oh, so there's like a history behind answering this question.
Yes, that's why he's laughing.
Okay. Okay, so all that history in mind, where do you feel like you sit on that spectrum?
Neither one works.
Neither one works. All right, so you're not on this extreme or this extreme. You're.
One works one day and the other works the next day.
So you have to be flexible in your spectrum. Okay, gotcha. Good to know. So I'm going to go around the whole class like that, and my job is not to judge him or make him feel like he has to fit into a box, because obviously he doesn't fit into a box, and he's not going to want to be put in a box. Does that make sense to everyone? The only reason I'm asking this question is because I want to stimulate conversation all around the room. The more people open their mouths, the more people nod their heads, the more they're going to buy from you, okay? The more that they agree with you, the more they feel comfortable, the more that you've created a sense of community, the more that they're going to feel safe when it comes time to purchasing. Everyone good with that? Okay, here's some other questions that you can ask if you don't really like that one, if that one doesn't suit you. You can ask something simple like, well, how do you define healthcare? And go around the room and see what people say about that.
So no matter what, you start the class with the question to get everybody talking.
I want a philosophical conversation that everyone can be involved in.
Not a yes or no
Because
question.
you'll see the person that's sitting in like this that are like, I'm only here because the hostess made me come. That you'll ask them that question, they'll be like, huh. And they'll actually you'll see the gears in their head turning. And the more that you can get them to participate in the class, the better your class results will be. Okay, here's another question you can ask. What do you normally do when something in your health goes wrong? So you just want to know. It's kind of like it'll take you in the same direction, conversation-wise. But they'll tell you, well, the first thing I do is I'll go to my medicine cabinet, call my grandma who does all kinds of weird voodoo stuff, go into the immediate care. Whatever their answer is, you'll kind of get a feel for where they sit. And they'll open their mouth.
Do you have these questions published somewhere?
Nope. I hope you wrote them down.
I'm trying to write as fast as you're
I
talking.
don't write
Okay,
that fast.
I'll go back. The first one was, where do you fit on the spectrum? And that's in reference to the modern approach versus the natural approach. Where do you fit on the spectrum? How do you define healthcare? Or you could ask, how do you define medicine?
PC term is
Okay. What do you normally, well, I mean, just that word, medicine, can mean so much. So, sorry, I don't want to get in too far off topic. What do you normally do when something goes wrong with your health? You don't need all these questions, guys. You just need one or two.
I like the first one because you have it right there.
'Cause it's
Modern
right on the
approach,
sheet.
natural approach. Where do you fall?
There's a graphic and everything, right?
Yeah.
Can follow the sheet. Okay, and then the second question that goes along with what do you normally do when something goes wrong? How do you expect to be treated? How do you want to be treated? And is there a difference between what you expect and what you would like?
Is this so simple yet so profound? Because my brain's like,
It doesn't matter what you ask. It just matters that you get them talking and agreeing with each other, you know, saying that they're different. Because some people, all the squiggles in the room, will need to say that they're different. Troy. Tori. Oh my gosh! I'm sorry! Tori.
you're being a little.
I'm going to send you an apology letter.
Call him Mr. T.
Mr. T.
Mr. T, I like
Because
that.
right now I'm pitying the fool.
Anyways,
I love you, babe.
that was mean. Okay. Then we'll start going through the class. And I know that you guys have seen a class before and you guys can read the bullet points. Do we want to go through that? Okay, we really want to go through that. Okay. Today in class we're going to talk about natural solutions to whatever is bugging you for healthy, empowered living. So the question is, do you feel like you need safe and effective and affordable health solutions? Are you lacking that in your life right now? Just wondering. Go ahead and pipe up.
I want safe
You want something
and
that's
effective.
safe.
With the insurance issues.
Okay. So that pretty much hits the nail on the head of what we all expect from our healthcare, right? We all hope that it's affordable. We all hope that it's effective. I mean, why would we buy it if it doesn't work? We all hope that it's safe. Yeah? Okay. So we have kind of some different choices in the approach to our healthcare, and I'll ask for a volunteer to read the modern approach. Who would like to do that? Thank you, Lacey.
The modern approach is designed to manage systems made from isolated synthetic agents, side effects known and unknown. It's $6.5 trillion spent a year on global healthcare, and are we healthcare?
Good question. What do you think?
No.
All right. I'm not saying the answer. I'm not here to propaganda this class. I want to know what they think. Every time there's a question on this sheet, oh, you talk about it. And notice when I asked for a volunteer, did I wait awkwardly and then assign somebody? No, because that doesn't make them feel safe in your class. What makes them feel safe is waiting until they think you're pathetic so they'll jump in and help you. Okay. So start to pull the, oh, I'm so pathetic, no one wants to help me face if you have to. Okay? That's not manipulating, that's creating the environment that you want. Maybe through manipulating. Okay, can I have a volunteer to read the natural approach for me? People don't like awkward silence. They will put their hand up. Thank you so
Natural
much.
approach addresses body's needs and root causes, is extracted from plants. It enhances physical and emotional health, safe benefits without side effects.
Hey, what do you guys like most about that natural approach idea?
The natural approach idea. Well, I love the natural approach, to be quite honest with you. Why? Because I remember years ago when I didn't know about natural anything, and I hated taking, your Excedrin or your ibuprofen or whatever, and having a stomach ache because my headache felt fine now, but now I feel like I'm going to throw up from the stomach ache. And until I knew about peppermint oil or past tense, I would actually refrain. I would just at some point just deal with the headache because I didn't want the side effect from it. So the natural approach, I'll do everything to not go with.
Oh, I
a
love that.
synthetic approach.
So what she's talking about is instead of the gamble of the side effect versus the help, she just like washes that out, and it's so much easier when you don't have to worry about the side effect. Wouldn't you guys agree? Okay, sweet. I want to talk about, let's talk about that. What side effects can we expect from essential oils? Who knows one? More questions that you can ask, the better. And in fact, if you ask questions multiple in a row, even better.
I remember when, I know that we're like actually trying to be in an actual class discussion here, but I remember the first class that we had done, and I remember Courtney actually saying that gambling was one of the side effects to medication. Gambling is a side effect.
Interesting.
Yeah. Isn't that something?
So we're
Sweet.
asking side effects of medication, side effects of oils.
Yeah, what are some side effects to oils that you guys know about?
Well, sometimes they burn.
Sometimes they burn. We will bring that up a little bit later.
It's usually a user error more than an oil error, but there is some that
Oh,
are-
did you guys hear that? So she said that sometimes because of user error, you can have side effects like burning sensation. Okay. Are side effects from essential oils long lasting? In fact, you could pull out some numbers and help people in your class feel safe by saying less than 1% of people that use essential oils report that there's some kind of mild rash or burning or itching sensation. It's usually from user error.
So there are occasionally people who have strong feelings about this.
Mm-hmm.
How do you manage that in class?
Strong feelings about.
Possible side effects of oils.
So
'Cause
you
I've
can.
had some that will say, they'll say that they're not research based, which is, we know is true, which is why doTERRA is amazing because of their quality control.
Mhm.
And I usually bring that up, but then they'll say that, like, I even had one say, well, I've heard you're not supposed to use the oils when you're pregnant, and here I am with my belly.
Right?
And so I say, well, it worked good for me, but like, how would you approach that?
Okay, that's a good question. So anytime that someone brings up any concern in your class, any question like that, you can tell they're like, there's a worry behind it. The best thing that you can do is help them feel better about that worry, and that's not always by answering their question. Does that make sense to you? Okay, so, this gets really deep. All right, so depending on what you feel like their personality is, you can answer based on, do they want facts? Is facts going to help soothe them? Like you can say less than 1% of people that use essential oils report a mild temporary side effect. Okay? And you can say it's usually a rash.
A lot of the time you can probably get them to answer the question just by asking more questions to them too.
Mhm.
Because then they have, like, if you're asking them, why do you feel that way? Or where did you hear it? What is your resource? Or whatever.
Mhm.
And then, you know, they sometimes have to think like, oh, maybe my resource wasn't quite as good as I thought that it was.
Right.
I saw it on Pinterest and, you know.
Mhm. But really, regardless of
My cousin, sister's brother's daughter
Right.
told me.
regardless of what planted that idea in their head, though, there's still a fear that you need to address if you want them to feel safe using oils. So the bottom line is, if whether it's what oils can I use when I'm pregnant, I heard you can't use some. So-and-so I know got a big rash from using lavender essential oil, you know, whatever is their concern, because they'll bring up concerns sometimes. You may say, hey, usually with essential oils, it's just as simple as knowing how to use them. And I have to tell you, I'm really good at knowing how to use them. And I'll be here with you.
Thanks for coming.
We'll talk about
That's
that.
why we're here.
Exactly. That's why we're here, to make sure that there's no user error when you use oils. Okay, so good question. Concerns, people just want to feel safer if they bring up a concern.
I was also gonna say, when addressing that one, I've also had that a lot, enough to say, you know, one, make sure your product is clean, effective. You know, some people may have had a reaction to essential oils. It might not have been a good product. Always do your research, make sure the ones you are using are safe, and then make sure you're checking your sources. You know, I can direct you towards some good articles that are really good research based that show that this, and this are safe, but make sure you are just using the product.
Yeah, so knowing their personality or just asking if you want me to send you some articles, that will tell you, yep, they're a research person, they want to know more, they want to read it. Or they'll be, if they're like a people person kind of personality, you can just tell them, I feel really safe using doTERRA's products, I've never had a reaction with them as long as I'm using them right. They'll feel your testimony is enough for them. So you can ask them, would you like me to send you more, or do you want me to just teach you how to use oils? That'll kind of usually answer most questions. And if you feel like you did something wrong, you answered them wrong, you messed up in class, and you lose them, it probably has nothing to do with you in the first place. So don't hang yourself up on that. Make sense?
Yeah, because there are some that just come with a very closed mind.
Yes.
There's not a whole lot you're gonna do about that.
Yeah, no, the only thing that we're doing through all of this process, the whole pipes, inviting, presenting, enrolling, the whole process, all we're doing is we're looking for openness. So if you can tell that they're really not open, don't waste your time, don't piss them off. I mean, don't upset them. Oh my gosh.
She's being honest.
Anyways. Then you can point out this, the section over here that says doTERRA is safe and 100% pure. Most of the time, I tell them that I feel like doTERRA is pure. I tell them that they can look up every batch number and see the testing if they want to, but most of the time I just tell them that I feel like doTERRA, and I've used other brands before, is the safest for me, my family, and my clients. And I've never had a reaction when I use them appropriately.
Well, you can ask them, the oils that you don't take while you're pregnant, where do they fall in that circle that's there?
Oh, there's essential oils not for use, not recommended for use for pregnant people, and we'll cover
I know, but like, I mean, certain ones that say don't take internally. Well, where do those ones fall on there? I know we have them with on the bottle and everything, but there are certain oils that I wouldn't put in the air, I wouldn't put on my body, and I wouldn't put inside me. But it's not pure oils.
So doTERRA carries oils that say they're not recommended for internal use. And that has to do with their chemistry, not with their contamination. So I probably wouldn't open that can of worms in a class. If someone is like, you guys all here, you've enrolled and you kind of know a thing or two about oils and now you need to know about teaching, I might have that conversation in a group setting like this. Okay, so we've done a lot of blah, blah, blah. Who's ready for the actual usage guide part?
Me?
Me? Okay, good. I'm glad. I will stay then. Okay, so this is how I use essential oils. There's 3 ways I use them at home. I rub them on, I sniff them, and I lick them. Everyone good with that? Okay, so it'll look something like this. Here, let someone have an essential oil we can pop out here. Wild orange is a perfect one. I'll do it with wild orange. Well, this is tangerine. Let's see if we can get you. Okay. So, 3 ways that you can use an essential oil just from 1 drop. I'm going to put some tangerine on my hand. I can rub it somewhere on my body. Tangerine is mostly just yummy because of the smell, so I might just rub it somewhere where I can keep smelling it a little bit out of sight of the sun. So I like to do this with peppermint. That's my favorite oil to do this with because you don't have to worry about sun sensitivity. Okay, so I might just rub it on, and I'll talk about how rubbing peppermint on the sides of your temples might help clear up aches and issues that you might have in that area, right? Okay, so rubbing it on the spot. How about sniffing it? Okay, I would pass it around. So if all y'all have oils, pop them out, rub them on, get some good smell going on. Okay, the point of this part in the class is not lecture, blah, blah, blah. The point of this part in the class is to start getting a reaction from your classmates. Pull out something that you love, rub it on. I have 30 minutes? Oh, I got plenty of time. You can Don't take forever deciding. Pull something out, rub it on, and sniff it. We're going for moving your people at this point in the class. We want them to move. We want them to chatter a little bit. We want them to say, ooh, that's nice. We want them to say, oh my gosh, that's intense. We want participation. Okay? The last thing that you can do with essential oils that I do at home is sometimes whatever's going on with my health happening on the inside of me, and the fastest way to get oils there is to lick it. So I might have a peppermint, or I might put another drop of peppermint, or I might just right off my hand lick it in front of them. So I rub, I sniff, and I lick. Everyone got that? Okay.
And she does it just like that in the class.
So now I usually pick on somebody but I'll pick on somebody that I know and love, and it won't make them uncomfortable. So, Anne. What's the 3 ways we use oils?
Rub, sniff, and lick.
Awesome. Will you demonstrate that for us?
Oh boy. I do have peppermint.
Perfect. That's the best oil. Dun, 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 dun. She sniffed. She rubbed.
And I got lips up. Now there comes the.
She licked. Okay, Anne, how do you feel?
Oh my nose is clear.
Oh my, she says. Okay, so so then I'll tell Anne next. We won't go through the whole class, but I'll tell Anne next. Okay, turn to somebody next to you and show them how to use essential oils. If they don't know, be like, okay, Tori. Yes. Okay, better. Okay, Tori. This is how you use essential oils. You're gonna put a drop in your hand, rub it together, sniff. And if you need to, because your tummy hurts, lick. Got it?
Aren't you glad you sat there?
And then have them all turn around and tell the next person. The more you get them talking, the more you get their brains working on this information you just gave them, the more they're going to incorporate it and actually be better customers for you. Okay? That's why I'm not just going to be like, blah, 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 read the sheet, blah, 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 blah. Okay, the more that you...
What you're saying is classroom interactions, which you're basically really hitting on.
Oh yeah. The more that you make their tummies squirm and their butt cheeks pinch together because they're nervous about talking in front of people, the more they'll incorporate the information you actually... They'll remember it, right? Okay, sentence. People only remember 20 to 30% of a lecture an hour later. Okay, if you ask questions, they'll retain a whole lot more. So the more questions you ask, the more participation you have, the better your class will be, the more they'll remember, the less hard your work is down the road. Okay? So by all means, please do read from the class sheet. You can absolutely duplicate yourself reading from the class sheet. I'm just saying the more fun you make it, the better your results will be. Okay? So if you need to, highlight the questions that are already on the sheet that you're going to talk about. You're going to, like, what do we read during the modern approach? Are we healthier? Is a question on here. Ask that question. Use what's on the sheet. You can create a question like when it says essential oils are effective, affordable, only pennies per dose. You can ask people questions about that bullet point. Okay? Ask people questions about the bullet points. Ask people when they're using oils, how does that feel? What do you think of that? How intense is that? Can you see yourself doing that at home? Because if the answer is yes, then their wallets are more open to you. Not from a creepy salesperson point of view, but from like you don't want there to be walls when you get to the money talk, okay? Make sense, everyone? Okay, now turn your pages. I love this page. Okay, I just want to make it very clear that this page and this page, you're going to spend the most time on them. The front page and the very inside page, you're going to spend the most time on them. But you still want to cover it all in about 20-25 minutes. You don't want to spend forever blah, blah, blah about oils, okay? We want to show them what oils can do and get to the part that actually helps them. So, this is the part, number 1, we want to work on what are your top health priorities. I mean, I can tell you until I'm blue in the face all kinds of awesome things that oils can do for you. But unless we talk about what you actually need, I'm just wasting your time and mine. So let's get to that. What do you actually want to feel less of? What do you actually want to feel more of? And after you ask those 2 questions that are right on the sheet, I just read from the sheet, then shut up and give them a few minutes to let them write it down. It's okay to have awkward silence. Go ahead, peeps. Write it down in your notes.
Your note is, shut up, let there be awkward silence.
You
Quote
don't have to let it
from
be
Rebecca.
Ask questions, then shut up.
Ask questions, then shut up. If they don't actually fill this out, they're not playing all out with you and they probably won't buy a thing from you. You won't have changed their life at all. Right? Let them fill this part out. Doesn't take that long. That was probably enough time. Okay. Okay, then what I like to do during this part of the class is get out your book, but I just want to make it really clear that they've made this pamphlet really well, so you don't even have to have a book with you. However, I set up this class making the next appointment look really good by bringing a book with me and opening the book at this part in the class. So I'll ask, what do you want to feel more of? Maybe someone says energy. So we're going to, as a group, we're going to look up energy in the red section of the book, which I like to do. But I also like to go through the green section of the book. So if you're not used to going through the green section of your book in your class, add 5 minutes of it. Because this is where I teach people in a nutshell how to use the book. This is where I make them know just enough to be dangerous, which I want to do. Jared?
So you try to have a book for everybody there?
Everybody there. If they can feel the book, and they will say, you'll hear this come out of their mouth, stuff like, wow, this is a really comprehensive guide. Man, this is like a textbook. I feel like everything's in here. You want them to say stuff like that, which they're not going to do if they're watching their neighbor go through the book. Harlan?
What do you do if, because I'm just looking at this and I've got some things going on that I'm not sure which category they would fall into.
Like, give me an example.
What we talked about last night, plaque buildup.
Okay, so you could possibly just look up plaque in the red section. You can look up a cardiovascular section in the red section.
Well, I'm just saying in a classroom setting, if somebody comes and says, well, I don't know if what I feel or what I have or what's going on fits in either one of these categories, how do you answer?
Oh, you mean I want to feel less, I want to feel more?
Yeah.
Okay, and the reason that they put feel on here is because that stays more in the FDA compliant. But you're like, I want to feel confident in my next doctor appointment because I have less plaque. You can say that.
Or less stressed about.
I want to feel
my
less
heart.
stressed about my heart. You can say that. And it's still, we're still going to look up your heart in the book. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so here's how I would go over the green section. Let's say someone talks about, someone has up here, I want to feel less congestion. Okay, I'm going to grab out an oil. Usually it's a single oil so that I can cover the green section. So I'll grab peppermint, which we've already used in class, or eucalyptus, which we've already used in class. And I'm going to pull, I'll say everyone open to the green section and find peppermint. Y'all do that right now. Oh wait, you don't have books, do you? Do you want everyone to? Okay, no.
I bought books to sell if anybody needs to buy one.
Okay, so I'm going to go there, but just know that in your class, everyone's going to be turning there. You don't want to tell them what page number it's on. You want them to start using the book like it's their book. Because if it's their book, if they can visualize it being in their house, on their bookshelf, they are going to want it.
They don't call you at 8 o'clock at night because they need help.
So I'm going to pull open peppermint, and I'm going to say, wow, look at all those hundreds of things you can do with peppermint. Not hundreds, really. But I'm going to tell them, okay, congestion is on here. It's one of the things that you would like less of. And notice that has a little symbol-y thing next to congestion. It says, there's a hand, which, and I show them how to use the legend. There's a hand, which means I could rub it on somewhere. So maybe I'll rub it right here. And there is a wavy symbol, which means I can breathe it in. Which, how do we do that, people? We know. We just used it, right? How would you breathe in peppermint? Like that. How would someone rub on peppermint? Yeah? Awesome. Okay, you guys are experts now. Look at you go. I would say that in class because I want them to feel like using oils is easy and they already can do it. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to point out though, okay, but if you're going to rub this, so like especially on your face because you're congested, these three little symbols that are up here, if you've ever noticed that before, I use this in my class. I talk about the colors and what they mean. Okay, so notice that the hand is purple up here, and that means that if I have sensitive skin, or if I'm rubbing in a sensitive area, or if I'm a child, or if I'm pregnant, I'm going to dilute it a little bit when I use it, because peppermint can be kind of intense, right? So I want to dilute peppermint a little bit if I'm going to rub it on my face for congestion, like over my sinuses. Oh, that would feel so good. How many of you guys have had a sinus infection before? You just rubbed it like this. Yeah, that feels really good. Okay, so I'm going to talk to them about
Diluting.
yeah, thank you so much for saying that. So this is where the user information, this is where the user knowledge comes in, this is where user error is dispelled in the class. Because I'm going to talk to them about, all you have to do is look it up in the green section, or the next section over, which is the blue section, which is the blend section. So if we're talking about breathe, that's where we'll look up breathe. And we'll talk about how some of them don't have an ingestible mark, like spikenard does not have an ingestible drop. So we don't ingest spikenard, okay? And I'll just explain, that's not because of its quality, that's because its uses are for the outside of the body. Like I'll read some of the uses: aging skin, nervousness, rashes. Those are all on the outside of the body, so why would I eat it? And then I want to find one that has a citrus sensitivity symbol, orange. So I'm going to tell them about using oils in the sunlight, okay? And this is only like a 5-minute conversation, and now they feel empowered and confident that they will use oils without getting those side effects of the 1%ers. This makes sense to everyone? If you don't do that, then you'll have people that actually are excited and enroll with you have a million questions later. So this is where you make them feel confident that they could use oils by themselves, okay? Because if they don't feel confident enough to open the bottles, they will never buy another bottle from you. Everyone clear on that? Okay, cool. Let's not spend too much time there. Let me check through my notes, make sure I'm covering everything I want. Oh, when you're on this page and this page, this is mostly about them, information, and then about them. So if you have a testimonial to share, please share one about oils. Please don't share a testimonial for every bullet point. You will so lose them. The class will take 3 hours long, and you'll talk yourself out of a sale. So if you just got one testimonial you're dying to tell people, then do one, okay? If you need to do 2, keep it under a minute. You can do that, right? If you can't, then only share one. Okay. I covered that. I covered the shut up part. Okay. I point out when I'm going through the red section of the book, this is how I build up the next appointment. I will point out, say, we're looking up insect bites. And so under insect bites is wasp stings. And so I'll say, basil is one of the red oils, meaning primary recommended oils for a wasp sting. And usually in the class, someone will say, well, how do you use it? And I'll point out that there's a hand symbol, so you're going to put it topically. But I will say that the frequency, the usage method, and the amount are not usually listed in the book. That's where you, as the wellness advocate, come in. That's where you build value in you. So what I mean is, they're not going to know everything about how to use oils just because they have this book. You are a really valuable tool to them. They might be able to talk to someone in a health food store about which oil they should use. Like, someone might be able to look this up in the health food store. But when they, have used it once and it didn't help, the health food store is not going to help them with that. You are. They're going to call you and say, oh yeah, I used lavender and it didn't really help me sleep. You'll be able to give them pointers on how you can change the usage method, change the amount that you're using, change the frequency of what they're using. Does that make sense? Like actually how to
Apply.
Yeah, how to apply. Thank you, April. How to actually put oils into effect in your life, that's where your strong point is. You make them feel safe purchasing because you know that. Does that make sense? And I will point out that I promise that I will give you a second appointment if you decide to be my customer, where I teach you how to use the oils that you want for you. Okay? Is that clear to everyone? I did not say that very well because I was kind of pregnancy brain. But what I'm saying, you guys get what I'm trying to say though? You want to make sure that they feel safe. Oh my gosh, I just lost my train of thought. Thank you. I'm pumping value into myself. I'll tell them. I've been using essential oils for 6 years. I'm actually pretty good at teaching people how to use essential oils. So beyond you should just use it topical approach that's in the book, I might tell them, use this much, use it this often, use it this way. That the book doesn't tell them, but I do. So that's what I will cover in our second appointment. Okay? As in, I'm not giving you all of my secrets in this class. As in, I have something really valuable to give you in our second appointment.
Would that be considered a lifestyle?
Yeah, which is actually the live.
If they were enrolled.
If they enroll. Which means I'm not going to spend a lot of time on them telling them exactly how to use lavender for their dog bite until they enroll. And you might disagree with that theory, but what I'm telling you is you will duplicate your business better if you don't tell them everything up front. You'll also make their eyes cross and they'll feel like, whoa, this is way too much information. Okay. I only have a few minutes left, so I'm going to actually go through the close kind of word for word how I do it in my class. Are you ready for that? Okay, so I've just told them that one of my strengths is helping people through that learning curve of using oils for the first time. When you first encounter oils and you need to learn that there's an amount that you need to use, and you need to learn how often to use that oil, and you need to learn where to put this oil when you're using it. Like, what method do I use? There's a learning curve that you kind of go through there. Wouldn't you guys all agree? How long did it take you before you felt like the boss with essential oils? You still don't? You're still on that curve. Okay. I'm really good at helping people go through that curve quicker, more effectively, so that they feel like the boss of oils sooner in their journey. So if you would like to be, hold on, I said that really sucky. So if you want that support from me, if you'd like to be my customer, I'd love to show you how. These are some ways that you can support me and be my customer. There's 2 ways that you can purchase essential oils now. One is just retail. So if you're just really interested in 1 or 2 oils, maybe retail's the best for you. It's going to be full customer price, but at that point, 1 or 2 oils and membership won't save you if that's all you're ready for. So the second way that you can purchase essential oils, though, if you know that you're going to probably get more than that, if you're interested, if your family needs more support than 1 or 2 bottles of oil, then let's look at a wholesale membership for you, because a wholesale membership will save you 25% off of all the oils that you get. And it's kind of like a library card. If you go to the library, get your library card, you can go back to the library every week and get new books. Or you can forget that you have the library card, you can lose it in the wash or whatever, and never use it for the rest of the year. doTERRA's membership is like that. There's no penalties for not ordering. The only limits is, in order to keep your membership rolling, you need to order once a year. And I'm going to shut up. You need to order once a year. You'll see a lot of people be like, phew, at that point. I will tell them about the Loyalty Rewards program, but that's all they need to know for a membership for now. It's $35. The only thing you need to do to keep it rolling is to order once a year. Okay? Awesome. A lot of people, when they get, any questions about that?
That was the wholesale membership.
That's the wholesale membership. A lot of people, when they start their wholesale membership, they start with a grouping. Here's a few groupings that you can see called kits. And the reason they do that is because that $35 membership fee is waived. Who likes to spend money for fees? Nobody? What do you like to spend your money on? Stuff and oils, whatever you want. Yeah, so that's why a lot of people start with a kit, because they get to waive that fee and not have to pay the $35. And they range in price from enormous to budget friendly. The most popular, I want to say, is this Natural Solutions kit that's on this side of the page, because, and doTERRA really did awesome, they did us a favor with this. All of the solutions that are on this page are in the Natural Solutions kit. It's more than just the 10 Family Physicians kit, Family Essentials kit oils. So one of the reasons this kit is really popular is because it comes with a diffuser. It comes with a box to put your oils in. It comes with the supplements, which I didn't talk about today, but we covered in the class. See, we covered these as supplements in the class. Yeah, we covered that, right? Yeah. So they want them, right? Yeah. So they're in this kit. Along with some of the other wellness products that we have that help you kick out the toxins from your life. Natural Solutions kit. Another bonus with this one is that you get 100 free points. So there's only like 15 oils here, which is a really good place to start. But if you really, really wanted a different oil than it's in this kit, awesome, you'll have a $100 gift certificate that you can turn around and spend on whichever ones those were. Right? What's your favorite oil?
I have several, peppermint.
Peppermint. Patchouli. Patchouli is not in this kit. But if you started with this kit, you could get patchouli with your $100 rewards points. Okay? Sweet. They do also have some more budget-oriented kits. This Home Essentials kit that's down here still has a diffuser. It also has all 10 of the most common to use essential oils at home in the larger, the 15 milliliter bottles. Now the kit that's right next to it is it's more like a sampling, like a travel-friendly kit. It has the same 10 oils: lavender, lemon, peppermint, some of your really common ones, melaleuca, frankincense, some of our great blends like Breathe, Digescent, Deep Blue, and On Guard. And they come in the smaller bottles, the 5 milliliter ones. And so they are about a third of the amount of oil for $100 less. So for $100 more, you'll get more than triple the amount of oil. Can you guys see the value in that? So if you have it, that's a great place to start.
And a diffuser.
And a diffuser. Thank you, Hanson. Okay. Talk to them about the Loyalty Rewards program. Before I finish up, I really want to get to this page. So, I just want you to notice that I haven't really gone over my why or why I started or any of that. The doTERRA guide actually tells you to do that in the first 10 minutes of class. I don't, because I tend to get teary-eyed when I do it, and that makes people roll their eyes when they don't know who you are. Okay, you're not gonna like mess that up in the beginning of the class. You're gonna wait until this moment right here. And this is what I say. I've done this whole teaching about oil sting enough to know that while our conversations might be about essential oils and how to use them, I know that the message I'm really sharing with you is one of hope. And I'm aware that some of you are sitting thinking right now, oh, I hope this could change my life. Or you might be thinking, wow, I really hope these essential oil things will help my son or help my mom. Or you might be thinking, wow, she read from that class sheet, and you might be thinking that's pretty easy, and you might be hoping that you could change your family's life by doing what I just did. And I will just say that whatever you're hoping for after this class, there's a pathway for you. Change my life is one of the pathways. Change others' lives is one of the pathways, and change my future is another pathway. So check the box that you feel like applies to you the best, and know that however your hope sets you tonight, know that whenever you use doTERRA's essential oils, here's a quote from Emily Wright, it's right here, she's one of our founders. Wherever your hope's at, know that every time you buy a bottle of doTERRA essential oils, you are changing someone else's life. And that's because in doTERRA, we don't undercut and get you the bottom dollar cheapest oil. We make sure that we're supporting families all over the globe, so that when you buy a bottle of lemongrass or cardamom or ylang-ylang, you're putting food on the table of a family in a third world country. You're bringing clean water to their community, and you're building schools and medical facilities so that their families and their children can have hope as well. Because in doTERRA, we like to spread hope all around the planet. And I can tell you about that hope personally from experience, because when doTERRA came into my life, I was a young mom with 2 kids, and for some reason I didn't feel like that was enough, and so I was running ragged all the time, building 2 other businesses, because that's where I found my value. And I had learned patterns of being a martyr mother and a martyr wife, and I was always the last person to serve, and I was just frazzled all the time. And the ironic thing about all of that is I actually already had essential oils in my life from massage school, but no one had ever told me that I could use lavender to soothe a teething baby. No one had ever told me that I could use essential oils to help my whole family sleep better and therefore, take better care of me too. No one ever told me that I could use grapefruit and cassia to help address my self-confidence and my self-image and start loving instead of punishing myself. No one ever gave me that hope when they taught me about essential oils. And so now when I teach about essential oils, when I see others whose hearts are heavy, whose brains are fried, or whose hands hang down, I just can't shut up about oils. Most of you are here because I can't shut up about oils. I just want you to know that whatever, I hope, it's my hope now that I have inspired you in some way to want to change your life through essential oils, and I promise you that if you do decide to go down that path with doTERRA and with me, that I will be there to support you on your journey. Thanks for coming tonight. That usually does happen in classes, just saying. Practice it that much so it's worth the wow factor. I have seen one other person do really, really well at this in their class. Guess who it is? It's Rod. Rod does that awesome with his clothes, because that's the one part that is like, it's not shooting from the hip, it is hammered, it is practice, it is... People want to know about the logical blah 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 stuff in your class, but they really will decide to join you. They'll really decide to bust their budget and buy a kit from you because they believe in what you're doing. So if you can tell people what you're doing in a way that conveys hope to them, in like a slam and make them clap when you're done way, then they'll do it at your class. And you won't be chasing them down afterwards later to get them to enroll. Okay? This is the last thing I'll say in a group. So if you know that you're ready to start, pay attention to the back 2 pages. One is the registration form for a wholesale customer, and 2 is the registration form for a wellness advocate. They both cost the same, just depends on what pathway you're interested in. That's the last thing that I say. Then you start talking to them on a one-on-one individual basis. Because this is the part where they're like, oh, I can't decide between this kit or that kit, or oh, I really want this kit, but I don't think I'll, whatever. They'll come up with all of their issues, and you talk to them one-on-one to figure that out. If someone goes out the door without you talking to them one-on-one, then you totally screwed up. Okay? Don't miss that. If someone has to leave, talk to them and just let them know that you will talk to them later about it. Don't screw up. You didn't do this awesome class to lose it at the last second because you didn't close with them individually. All right, thanks for listening to me. That was a lot of blah, 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 Rebecca. Hopefully you learned something. Did you learn something? Are you going to do a whiz-bang class next time? What? Nobody's going to? Don's going to do a whiz-bang class next time. Who else is ready to do their next class? Thank you. All right, schedule it and get it done. Let me know how it went. Thanks, guys.
Any questions for Rebecca? We don't need to introduce Dawn. She's next.
I get to introduce Dawn?
Yes, you
You
do.
didn't tell me that. I'm not prepared.
I wasn't prepared to introduce that either.
Do we need a break? Anyone need to go potty?
Do I need to stop this break for another one?
Yes.
So
Stop the recording.